right, let's dive into this now. With me is former Michigan Governor Jennifer Granholm and Charlie Dent, former Republican congressman from Pennsylvania. Good to see you both.
Good to see you, too.
Okay, so Jennifer, you first. You know, in just a matter of hours, the president plans to make this offer to Democrats to try to end this shutdown, this extension of, DACA protections in exchange for wall funding. Is he going to be getting the Democrats' attention on this?
I'm sorry, who was that directed to?
For you, Jennifer.
Okay,
Governor.
great. So I think, call me Jennifer, it's good. I really think that movement on both sides is a really good thing for those 800,000 employees, right? So Democrats remember that the president originally had asked for $1.6 billion in his budget request. The Democrats offered to give him that. In this Homeland Security budget, they've offered $1.3 billion for border security, and now they're going to add another billion on top of that for other border security type of measures, including technology. I think this is all going to come down to how you define the word wall. Is it an electronic barrier? And Democrats are willing to, provide funding for that? Is there more technology, or is it purely a brick and mortar wall? To me, that is going to be the crux of it. And I think the DACA solution, if in fact he puts that on the table, that's very positive.
All right. So, Charlie, do you see that it's a matter of semantics, arguing over, how to define border security? Is it barriers? Is it wall? Is it technology? Is that the fine tuning that is standing in the way of coming to a deal?
Well, it seems like we're at the point, Frederica, where there can be a real negotiation. Look, I've said all along the way out of this thing is to reopen the government and then simply negotiate probably $2 to $3 billion at the end of the day for border security. Now, we have to define that. That could include some barriers, border agents, technology, access roads, a whole number of things. In exchange for that, real protection to the TPS and DACA populations. Now, I think it's going to take a little bit of time to negotiate something.
Is that where it's being hung up, on the language there, or in the amount?
Well, well, both. I don't think the Democrats will agree to $5.6 or $7 billion. But I do think that they'll be under tremendous pressure to agree to some number between 1.6 and 5.7. So they're going to have to take a number sooner or later. The question is what for. Now, the president's own rhetoric is not helpful. I mean, he just is completely incapable of articulating a plan to establish operational control of the border, which is far more expansive than just simple barriers or walls. So I think that's really been a big part of the problem, the president's own rhetoric. But, by the way, I was one of the original co-sponsors of the Secure Fence Act of 2006, so I know a little bit about this issue. And I think there's an easy path forward here for both sides to come to an agreement. It's a tragedy that we've had to go through a government shutdown all these days, to get to this. Simply reopened the government and negotiated this until February and then passed the Homeland Security bill. This isn't that hard.
So in one respect, the president said, look forward to this major announcement coming today, now scheduled for 4 o'clock. But then this morning on his way to Dover Air Force Base, he said this about where he, is still digging in his heels.
We have a lot of people in caravans coming up. If we had a wall, we wouldn't have a problem. But we don't. We have too many open areas. The walls that we fixed and the walls that we built hold beautifully. Everybody knows that walls work. The Border Patrol has done an incredible job, but we need the help and the backup of a wall.
So Jennifer, is the cat already out of the bag? I mean, the major announcement, he's saying, look, the wall is the wall and it's going to be there. Just days ago, the House Speaker said, there's no money for any wall. And then this reporting today, CNN confirming this $1 billion, offer an additional funding, but not for the wall.
Well, what about this does he not understand? People who are coming largely to proclaim asylum, and they don't do it at at unwalled portions of the border. They do it at the ports of entry. I don't know how many times this has to be pointed out to him that a wall will not fix that. A wall will not fix the bringing across of drugs when 90% of them are brought across in vehicles. What will stop
But he's
that
arguing
is
it will
better
be
detection.
effective. He's arguing, he continues to argue that it will be
that's-
effective in acting as a deterrent, a barrier to drugs, or bad actors
that's
from
the
coming across
problem.
the border.
He can say that all he wants, but the facts are in the opposite direction. What will help is better detection and better security. Yes, we should put some money into drones, and yes, we should have more immigration judges, which the Democrats are putting on the into funding. But he can't, just because he continues to repeat a lie, doesn't mean it's true and doesn't mean that we should be funding something that is ineffective and a lie.
So, Charlie, I spoke with a contract worker who, has not been working for the past month, like a lot of, contractors and federal workers, and without a paycheck. And earlier she said she's going to be watching, this scheduled announcement for the president, but all she wants to hear is when is government going to be open? And based on what we're hearing so far in terms of the signposting of, his demands on border wall funding, do you have any confidence that the president is going to be able to say, my major announcement is government is going to be up and running again?
Well, here's really the issue. I think the best path forward is simply to pass those 6 appropriations bills now, and then do a short-term extension for the Homeland Security appropriations bill. And then negotiate
Does he
this thing
seem pliable,
out from
amenable
under
to
the
that?
pressure of the shutdown. Well, that's what I want to hear from the president today. I hope he agrees to reopening the government now so that they can have this negotiation without this enormous pressure placed on all these people who are going without pay. That would be the best way to deal with it. Now, if the president wants to negotiate this thing while the government is shut down, I think this could take a while. I mean, there are still a lot of fine points here to be negotiated on TPS, DACA, border security. There's a lot involved here. But you can easily reach an agreement. But with this pressure of the shutdown, it's horrible. So I think I hope the president today says we're going to reopen the government and we're going to negotiate this by a date certain.
All right, we shall see. 4 hours away and counting. All right, Jennifer Granholm, Charlie Dent, appreciate it.